Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Amazing Spider-Man issue number 66. Yes, I read that right. Now, 600 issues from now. Because it's a very demonic issue. Actually, it's not really. There are a lot of African American characters in here. I don't say African American. There's a lot of black characters in here. You know what I'm saying? Really fun. Like, there's just so much in here. And there's like a truce made, which makes me go, oh. But I enjoy it anyway. Like, dude, a lot of stuff happened in this issue. It's funny. It might as well have been a giant size Amazing Spider-Man issue. Giant size Amazing Spider-Man 2. Let's go. Let's talk about who made this comic book. We'll go on from there. So this is Tangled Webs. Nick Spencer is the writer, Mark Bagley on pencils, John Dell doing the inks, and Brian Reber doing the colors. VC's Joe Caramagna on letters, Bagley, Dell, and Reber doing the cover art. I don't see any variant covers. All right. And Stan Lee and Steve Ditko created Spider-Man. Beeps. So, like I said, a lot happens in here, and certain stories seem to be wrapped up, and that is for now. But, the Overdrive and Charlie Cooper story seems to be the new one that's going to be picked up. It's so funny. Like I said, there's so many storylines that are going on in here. In this run, and you forget about them, and then all of a sudden they pick up again, and you're like, wait, I don't remember where I was. Where did I leave off? Maybe I should have had a bookmark. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of those people who reads novels and I don't use a bookmark. I remember the page because it's training to keep my mind sharp, And I leave and I come back to it like days later. I'm just like, yeah, I remember which page I was on. So boom, 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 let's go. In this particular case, I'm like, no, I definitely should have used a freaking bookmark because I barely remember what happened. But again, it is Spencer, and we're in great hands with Nick Spencer because this fool, he comes along and he's just like, check it. You forgot all about the story, but you remember that something was happening? Let me give you the story right now. Bang, and we've got the story. We've got enough of it that we are interested in reading on. And the next issue, if they do continue with the Charlie Cooper stuff, I'm positive, like absolutely stone cold positive, that boom, we're going to be able to be right back where we were, right where we left off, and know exactly what we knew and then just be able to move on. The coolest part of this, though, is the segue. That's right. When you're listening to like, for instance, the Comic Book University podcast every Sunday morning, where I talk about the latest comic book news, my favorite thing to do is the segues and actually spend a couple minutes going over. I should probably spend more time, but I take a couple minutes going over the segues in that, right? Why? Well, you can tell it by this book. Why? Because that seamless thing, and when you notice that there was a really cool segue, it's like, you're just like, wow, that felt good. That felt interesting. Okay, I see what you were doing there. You were actually paying attention to this. You're not just talking out of your ass, In this particular case, the segue, how we move from the Norman Osborn and Kindred story over here. And mind you, there's just a pin on that. But then we move into the Charlie Cooper story, and it's like, holy crap, I see what you did there. And suddenly, a couple more things seem to make sense, right? Spencer is something special, man. This guy. Like, to just be able to callously, but not callously, just, I don't know, so seamlessly put together this incredible yarn of a story. Continuous storytelling is not the easiest thing in the world to do. It's not. And it's the thing that we're not used to. And when like me at least, when I'm sitting here reading this, even though I'm not used to the continuous storytelling, I just look at this, I'm like, hot damn, this is interesting, I'm not going to give you the spoiler for what happened in the previous issue, which unfortunately the previous issue storyline-wise is not actually ASM number 65. It's actually giant-sized Spider-Man number 1. A lot of things wrapped up in there. And of course, with a Nick Spencer story, the wrap-up is really more of, it is what it is. Take it with a grain of salt. It's not a wrap-up. You think we're wrapping up this story. It's a placeholder. It's a pin, right? The next comic book I'm going to be reviewing is Daredevil number 30. And it's important. I know I didn't review the previous issue, but something related happens in this book. You don't need to get this book, but make sure you check out this review because there's something interesting that I saw in the previous issue, even though I didn't do the review. We'll be talking about it in this particular issue. So that'll be coming up next. This was, as should be expected, a fantastic book. Bagley jumping back on, it just feels right. And it's a shock to the system seeing the way that the characters are drawn differently. But that being said, it's always welcome. Always welcome. May John Romita Jr. never curse us with his artwork again on these pages. Because I'm very happy with Bagley and some of the other people they get to guest draw. Yeah, I don't need to see those mouths where all just, because nobody talks like that. Nobody. See, I can't even do it now. I'm trying. And anyway, guys, fun comic book. Also, fun review, right? Like the video. Watch an ad. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.